This year at NPC, we have a very special guest with us. I'd like to introduce all of you in a bit to Ria, the AI human. She's created by our NASCOM deep tech startup, autovid.ai. And Ria, the AI human, will now tell us more about the session that we have coming up for you.
Our next topic is the next software as a service leaders from India. What sets them apart? With 18 software as a service unicorns, India has well established itself as an innovation hub for software as a service. According to data from research platform Venture Intelligence, software as a service companies raised $2 billion across 93 deals in the first quarter of 2022. 2021 saw almost $4.8 billion invested in India software as a service companies, which is up nearly 3 times from 2020 and a staggering 6 times from 2018. This panel explores the strategy, insights with the next set of software as a service leaders. Are they taking a different approach? What is their GTM strategy? What metrics matter to them? And how are they building the right team?
Well, like Ria just mentioned, we now move into the panel discussion, the next SaaS leaders from India, what sets them apart. I'd like to request you to please welcome our speakers onto the stage. Vivek Khandelwal, co-founder iZooto. Anand Agrawal, co-founder and CTO Credgenics. Vidya Santhanam, co-founder and CEO Fitbots. Shubhra Srivastava, CEO at GaragePlug. And moderating this session is Prasanna Krishnamoorthy, partner Upeka Value SaaS Accelerator. I'd like to hand the mic over to Prasanna.
Hey folks, can you hear me? Yes, excellent. So I think the last session ended on a note of diversity, right? And people want to see what is the next gen of SaaS in India. So this is the next gen of SaaS in India. This is how it's going to look, right? This is how it looks, and we all have to make it happen, right? So I'm going to be looking at my phone because I have my questions on my phone. But I'm not like browsing or, I'm not one of those people who are off working at home but actually working for a different company. No, that's not what I'm doing here. Right? Anyway, so what you're going to see here, just quickly, is that we're going to see a wide range of domains in SaaS, and that's how SaaS is today in India. I'm going to keep the questions very crisp and get out of their way so that they can tell you what they're thinking about. We'll be going round robin with the same question. We have 30 minutes. We'll try to keep it crisp. Any questions, we might have to take it at tea later, right? So all of you promise me that you will have tea with these lovely folks and answer their questions there, right? So Shubhra, we'll start with you. Why did you become a SaaS founder?
Hello. Yeah. So why I became a SaaS founder?
Yeah.
Okay. So GaragePlug was started by Rohit and Ashish, and they brought me. Okay, so that is a short answer. Yeah, jokes apart, when we started GaragePlug, we actually did not know what is SaaS. We were thinking, okay, we are just selling some software. And back in 2017, when we attended some of the events, where people were talking about MRR, ARR, all these kind of stuff, then we realized, oh, we are building a SaaS. So yeah, it's not something, we out of choice, came into SaaS, but yeah. We were trying to solve some problem, and later we realized, oh, this is SaaS we are building.
Got it. So what does GaragePlug do, quickly?
Okay, so GaragePlug is a automotive platform for automotive after-sales businesses, where they can, manage their entire operations and customer journey.
Got it. So who's your best customer?
So our typical, we have a couple of customer segments, but right now the biggest customer segment which is working for us is oil and lube, where these oil and lube companies, they belong to, they have automotive workshops, so we are directly selling to these people. Yeah. So just to give some names like Aramco, Valvoline, these kind of companies, they are our typical customer
Small
personas.
companies.
Yeah, we were selling to very small micro garages initially, but now, over last 5 years, we could figure out the right ICP, and now the entire story is changed.
Got it. Thank you. Vidya, you want to? How did you become a SaaS founder, and what do you do at Fitbots? It should be on. Maybe you can use this one.
Yeah, so the way I got into SaaS is I didn't know what SaaS was when I started Fitbots. I'll give a quick background about Fitbots. We're an objectives and key results company, OKRs. So building a SaaS product for OKRs so that teams can get connected. So I came with a fairly long corporate career. So worked for about 15 years. And every day I used to write down a bunch of ideas to say that, hey, someday when I set up some company, what would that idea be? So it stemmed from a problem which I faced because strategy execution is hard for many leaders, and then that basically led us to set up Fitbots. So that's how
Got
it
it.
is.
So if anybody here doesn't get a promotion or doesn't get a hike or something like that, you might be responsible. Or your software might be
Yeah,
responsible.
interestingly, OKRs is disconnected from compensation and reviews, so hopefully not.
All right, thank you. Anand?
Hello. So again, we did not think that we would be a SaaS founder. I mean, obviously nobody knows that what exactly industry they might be. Not the industry, but what kind of a founder they would be. It was more the urge to solve a problem which is unsolved, a complicated problem. That was the urge in us, a curious person who always wanted to solve a problem. So we were looking out for these. Our starting wasn't what we do today. Our starting was a little different. We built a platform for the lawyers. And the platform catered to manage all of the cases filed by lawyers digitally. That did not work out. I think one of the things which we understood wrong is that lawyers pay kind of money for the software. It's the other way around. So I think we figured out the opportunity where it is. The opportunity was more on the collection side. There was a lot of legal cases getting filed against for collections. And we saw that as an opportunity. We took up that as opportunity to build a platform for lenders, banks, NBFCs, fintechs, all of the credit-giving companies, a platform built for that. I think, again, if you build a platform for any other company and help them manage their processes, I think that's generally called a SaaS platform, and the founder is generally a SaaS founder.
Got it.
So, yeah.
So if any of you have gotten any annoying calls about your bills not being paid or your loans not being paid, and you want to stop those calls, he's the guy, right? All right. Thanks, Anand. Vivek?
So I think like Anand, we also stumbled into SaaS. Our previous startup was, in our previous startup, we had a ringside view of the 2014, 2016 startup craze for acquiring more customers, acquiring more users. This is when everybody wanted to have a mobile app. I don't know why. And we saw brands spending millions and millions of their budget into acquiring new users. And we also had the view where we knew that these users are not sticking around. So we could very clearly see a problem around retention and engagement. And that's when we said, okay, you know what, let's just shift gears. This seems to be a sizable market. There seems to be a genuine problem. We have access to the customers. There is no reason why we can't fix the problem also. And so we just naturally slid into that mode of, let's do this thing also. It just so happened that we were good at it, and we ended up building a good business out of it. Yeah.
Awesome. So do you want to pick one of your best customers and why they like you, or what do they do with your product?
Sure. So iZooto is a marketing automation platform for publishers. For the longest time, publishers were being served with platforms which were actually built for e-commerce or retail or travel or banks and so on. They had very niche use cases, which is what we sort of are able to solve very, very clearly. If you get notifications on your phone, you probably get it from our platform. You're talking about likes of Money Control, CNBC, Network 18, Times of India. I don't know what all do you guys read, but you probably have been cookied by our platform right now. So yeah.
Awesome. Anand, who's a good customer for you, and what do you do for them?
So just to maybe give a brief about what Credgenics also do. Credgenics is a SaaS platform to manage entire or end-to-end collections work cycle. Again, there's a lot of activities which goes on collections. Banks like HDFC, ICICI, or even public banks do a lot of investment on these collection activities, as many of those loans given do not come back naturally, or the EMIs do not get paid back in time. So we help them manage these accounts using our platform, right from maybe pre-dues, right from after the default has happened, and a lot of communications get sent, a lot of collection activities do happen on those accounts. What value we add, and who are our customers? Primarily, again, almost all private banks today are our customers. We could take like HDFC, ICICI, Axis have been using our platform today as well. The value add which we provide to them is one single platform to manage your entire collections. In the traditional way, all of these solutions were a little archaic, where they would have about 10, 12 platforms to manage different set of activities within the collection cycle. We help them reduce the collection cost, reduce the time to collect. We help them kind of reduce the bounce rate if there are certain activities done even before the due date. Maybe a payment link getting sent to your number just to remind you. For example, Cred sends you a lot of reminders on WhatsApp, on maybe a notification. Similarly, these are non-credit products as well, not credit card products as well, where personal loan, home loan, where people forget to kind of make the payment on time and they forget about the due date. And that's where we send these communications. They use our platform to communicate at bulk.
So, Anand, how much do they save, or what is the value for them?
See, there are a couple of case studies which we have done, and it's a complex thing to do case studies as well when the size is huge of this particular problem itself. We have saved about 35% cost for a couple of NBFCs, one of the bank as well. Though there is a lot of activities which do happen on time to collect, efficiency of the agents too. Maybe the agents were doing about 300 calls a day. Using our platform, they might be doing about 750 today.
Like, is this a large problem? Like,
it's a massive problem. It's a massive problem to solve. You could imagine that an Excel can hold only 10 lakh records, right? But there are certain customers who would want to do collections on much more greater numbers than that. And these are the number of accounts.
How much is a large player spending on collections today?
So one of the bank, I wouldn't take the name, might be spending about 1,200 crore, 1,300 crore annually just on collections.
Wow.
That size is the problem. This just one of the bank of India. I'm not talking about the global size is much more massive. It's in billions.
Amazing.
That's the size of the problem.
Thanks, Anand. So Vidya, can you tell us who one of your good customers is, and like how have you helped them?
Sure. So interestingly, OKRs is a horizontal play. So that's the good part of it. So we have customers ranging from theme parks to schools. In fact, interestingly, my daughter's school is also on OKRs through Fitbots. I had nothing to do with it as a parent, but they just came to us. But apart from that, the best customer is somebody who's heavy with product and engineering teams. So product and engineering teams need to link heavily to business teams, and those are the kind of personas who are there. So our best paying customer, we have about 500 folks on OKRs through us.
Wow, and what's the value they get?
The biggest value is on outcome metrics. So, for instance, one of the metrics which I think you had spoken about, Anand, earlier is how do you reduce turnaround times, or how do you increase collections? So some of those metrics can be tracked on Fitbots.
Got it. Okay, thank you. So, Shubhra, you want to talk about one of your big customers and how you help them?
Yeah, so our biggest customer, the segment is, as I told already, oil and lube, and out of top 10 companies, 3 of them are our customers. And the biggest value these people are getting is the customer journey. Even though the platform gives, operational excellence and these kind of things, but what these bigger, enterprises are missing on the customer retention and the entire, touch points, customer touch points and customer journey. So that's the biggest value, and that is resulting into retention. And we have some figures like it is approximately 20-25% retention they could increase.
Wow, that's amazing. So these are companies like Aramco and Valvoline, and
Yes,
what happens
yes.
when you increase the retention by that much?
Their bottom line increases, right? And we get more money.
Cool, makes sense. So we'll start this question with you, Shubhra. So, if you were to tell Shubhra of 5 years ago, never do this if you build a SaaS business, what would that be?
Never sell to everyone.
What does that mean?
So when
did
we
you sell
built
to? What do you mean by
Garage,
everybody?
yeah, when we built GaragePlug as a product, we just started selling. We were like, okay, somebody should buy this. Somebody should use it. So that was a thought process initially for almost 1.5 years, and we never thought about, we have to choose our customers, who should pay, how much, what is the value, higher value, more money. So all those concepts were not there. So if I have to go back 5 years back, I think first thing is I look at, okay, what is the value of this product and who is going to pay me?
And what did that cost you? What did the mistake cost you?
3 years.
3 years. So
I mean, figuring out the right persona. Yeah.
Got it. Vidya?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question because a younger self 5 years back, many a time as a founder, you have this love for your idea, love for your company, right? Infatuation towards the problem that you're solving. But really, it's about what kind of a problem you're setting out to solve. I think if 5 years back, if I'd been more mindful about it, then I would have probably moved faster and not chased the wrong problem. And of course, we landed on OKRs a few years later. But if I were to do that differently today, just to kind of answer your question is, I'd first of all go to Google Trends and search whether the keyword is being searched, right? And what's the volume? Because if it's not being searched with high volume globally, you know that maybe it's not a big enough problem to solve, or at least probably not a big enough problem to solve. I think the second thing I would have done is go up to G2 crowd, because all products are listed there. Go into categories of choice, look at the G2 crowd grids and see how crowded the space is. Because then it would have helped me discern at that point of time, are you serving a very commoditized space or is it something which is very nascent? Right? Because something which is very nascent, you need to build a lot of awareness before selling software. So I think that's something that we learned over time, and it cost us 2.5 years.
Got it. Anand, 3 years ago, what would you have told yourself?
I think that would have been the right question for me. I think 5 years ago, I just graduated. So yeah, we started off this company in 2019, but the times were hard for us. We started off with a very small problem. I think just continuing what Vidya said, it's important to identify the problem should be large enough. Otherwise, I mean, you'll be hitting some sort of ceiling some point or the other. We started off with that legal platform and understood that that's not the right thing. We wasted, maybe I wouldn't say wasted, a lot of learnings during that period. Definitely how to build, what to build, and for whom, and how to kind of go in the market as well. We started off, we restarted the work on building Credgenics back in 2019 late, November, December. That was the starting point for us. One of the key things which I would say to ourselves is do not run for building perfect products. There is nothing perfect in this world, I would say. Again, building products, you will have to kind of figure out what's needed the most, ship fast, build fast. That's something which will help you go faster in the market. Even on the other side, if there are customers, and especially in the industry like ours, where there is no other kind of competitors or players setting the expectations which we were, the customers would be kind of okay to kind of have less amount of features and still co-build with you, rather than expecting on day one that there is 100 features we needed and it should be there on the platform. They would be definitely kind of running along with you to build that and build something great for that particular industry. Second is do not go on to customize products for every client which comes onto you, especially in enterprise products. What goes on to happen is that every client which comes do have a fascinating world of we require 10 different things and 12 different things. Maybe they might not be going to use when those are kind of built and released, but it's just the fascination that, okay, I need it on day one because I think this will work out. You will have to do a lot of study, a lot of understanding, talking to other users of other clients, and see if that makes sense. Prioritize your development. You can do so much in so much amount of time with less number of people or finite number of people. You cannot build everything in one go. Hence, it's important to prioritize and figure out what's important to build. And again, be patient enough. We have faced COVID. We started 2019 late. 2020 was COVID. 21 was COVID. First COVID wave, RBI had put in a moratorium. No collections could happen. It was a zero revenue 6 months for us. We kept on building the product. That's all we could, and all from home. We couldn't even go to offices. But right after COVID, I think the sun was brighter because a lot of default had happened due to COVID. I wouldn't kind of put it like that, but yeah, it was a good time for us eventually, where we made a good business, and today we stand still with about 100 odd clients there in India as well as in Indonesia. So that's the scale we have reached now.
What would we tell ourselves 5 years back? Right?
Not to do.
Not to do. Perfect. Yeah. So obviously, I agree with everything that these three folks have said. So I won't repeat that. I'll just add one more thing from our side, which is I will start prioritizing distribution and marketing over product. I think in the last 4 years, 5 years of building and growing iZooto, we have learned this lesson the hard way, that our marketing is out and out. I think at least 3 to 4 years behind our counterparts in the US or the UK or the Europe, right? We massively underinvest in marketing. We delayed marketing or distribution of product only once the product is ready and in a shape that we are confident and proud about. We would completely flip that to the extent of not even building the product, but start doing marketing and even generating demand to us to make sure that there is real intent of buyers to pay real dollars for what we think we want to build, right? Rather than building it and then taking it to market and then iterating it with them on the fly, right? I would just prioritize marketing right at the beginning of building the business itself. Yeah.
Got it. So I'm going to ask a different question now. I think all of you are either selling globally or thinking about selling globally or in the process somewhere.
Yeah.
One learning that might be useful for people is, have you sold in India? This is for all of you, right? Have you sold in India? What's the difference between selling in India software and selling globally?
Bunch of differences. One, the maturity of the Indian buyer or the maturity of the software buyer in the US or UK or Europe or even Southeast Asia is very high as compared to maturity of a software buyer in India. The US buyer has gone through multiple cycles, either themselves or their managers have gone through multiple cycles or their fathers have gone through multiple cycles of buying, adopting, and driving adoption of software in that company, right? That's not the case in India, right?
What does that result in?
What
does that result in?
That result into wish lists. I want this, I want that. That results into your, as Anand said, your backlog getting choked with feature requests, right? Rather than you prioritizing what actually moves the needle, right? So yeah, I think that's the biggest difference, the maturity, which essentially then translates into, hey, can they pay enough money for this? No. Why can't they pay enough money for this? Because the value of time changes drastically as you change time zones, right? Time of a resource in EST is, say, $15 an hour. Time of a resource in IST is significantly lower, right? India, you would throw humans at a problem, right? In the West, that's not how you would usually approach solving problems in the first place. So yeah.
Got it. Thanks. Anand, do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, I think one of the good thing there is that you get more money. Definitely, you go out. I mean, it's all obviously like 5x, 6x. You get what you get from a customer in India. That's the upside.
And this is, you're talking about India versus Indonesia, 5x, 6x?
Yeah, Southeast Asia, anywhere. If you pick up Indonesia, we are having like 5x, 6x the payout compared to that a customer pays in India. And maybe you can imagine what the US would be much more, I think double of that, 10x maybe. Roughly that's the calculation which everybody takes. The challenges, I think, which Prasanna you have asked is, one of the challenges is the culture. I think you do not relate to that because you haven't been brought up there. Obviously, it's going to be very different, and especially when it's collections, I think it's more talking to the person and then understanding why they couldn't pay and maybe if they required time to pay. For example, in COVID, there was a lot of restructure of loans happening so that they could pay 2 months later or 4 months later. That kind of strategies were kind of adopted in India. But you do not know how to kind of communicate the same thing in those countries. So you need to adopt to how they kind of function, what their work cycle is, their general social life is, because your product has to relate to that, only then they will be able to kind of adopt. Second is definitely language. A lot of language barrier comes when you're kind of going outside. Maybe in US, UK, it's English. I think that becomes relatively easier. But when you go to Southeast Asia, you'll have to kind of figure out solutions for Vietnamese, Bhasha, Thai, all of these language. You'll have to be prepared for that. That's something which they would require. Thailand, you wouldn't kind of get many of those platforms being used in English. Rather, they would prefer to do it in Thai. The third is, again, the way Indians function, it's quite aggressive when they are kind of onto closing something. And even from the customer aspect, if they are looking forward to kind of onboard a platform and all, they'll try to close it faster. In Indonesia, it's hard. It's double the time and the effort put in there. So you would have to kind of relatively be ready for that. A lot of other challenges, which is operational, like entity formation and all. But yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Vidya, are you selling globally? If you are?
Yeah. So for us, 70% of our revenue comes through India and the rest through outside India. So I'll divide this question into two parts. We were initially a category creation software because OKRs was less known. So we started in the India market. So we had to spend a lot of time in awareness building. So the software sale did not come immediately for us because people wanted certifications, they wanted to be coached and then adopt software. So one of the challenges in the market was, and of course we chose it, was that service comes before software. So that was one shift. Then as the market matured, today there's a lot of uptake of OKR software, which is a good thing. But I think where the buyer mindset is different, pricing for us in India, we've been able to command the same prices outside India. So that's not been a challenge. But support is usually seen as something which is there along with the software. So today we are not able to charge extra for support in the market, but in a country outside, they value support more. So that's what we've seen.
Got it. Shubhra, your worst Indian customer versus your good outside customer?
Yeah, so, when we were selling in India, we were pretty happy, a lot of leads, hundreds of customers, but definitely if you look at the,
how much
what they are
paying
it was like, it became super challenging. And then it became super challenging to support them because, they want everything in that money. So this was the biggest problem. And then when we, went global, we were surprised, it's easy to earn dollars. So yeah, that made us, taking this shift from India to global. So now our 85% revenue comes from global and almost 10-15% comes from India. Yeah.
Got it. And from a GTM perspective, any lessons learned in terms of selling
GTM
globally,
perspective, yeah,
enterprise?
a lot of, it's a big journey altogether. So when we started with global market, it was not big bang, okay, yeah, somebody bought and, everything is done. No, not like that. So we went through very hard journey. We selected, Middle East as the, first market, globally, and myself, Rohit, Ashish, we literally did the field sales, initially. And I know, like, a lot of people were like, you're selling to SMBs and, field sales. It doesn't work, But I think those 6 months, when we were literally selling on the field, knocking each and every door and, showing the product to these garages, workshops, detailing centers, then we realized, oh, this is a big problem. And that gave us a huge conviction, okay, yeah, we are on the right path. And that's where we started building the product to the next level. So yeah, those initial 6 months were pretty hard. And in terms of, what exactly we are doing, we are selling. But yeah, that helped us, building the product to the next level. And now we are at a stage where we are able to sell to these enterprises. And thanks to those SMB customers, who helped us building the product.
Got it. So what's something that you believe that you think most SaaS founders don't believe in? Or what's one thing that you believe now?
One of the things is, initially when we were selling at any price, price is the biggest lever, You should not hesitate. If you are giving value, people are there to pay for that. So selling in India, we were like, oh, these guys will pay or not. But now, we are big bang. We are asking, okay, yeah, this is the value we are generating.
Got it. So pricing as a lever.
So pricing is the biggest lever.
You want to share how much your pricing has changed so that they understand why pricing is a lever?
Okay, so 35,000 rupees to $35,000. Okay, so that's a big shift. Yeah, definitely product is evolved. Customer segment is changed. So a lot of other levers are there. Sure. ICP is the biggest, change. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Vidya, something that you believe that other SaaS founders don't?
So something that I believe, I'm not sure whether everybody disagrees or agrees with me, but I think the one thing is that assumptions, right? You want everybody to eat that software out of your hand, right? As soon as you go and sell it, you want buyers to just pour in and just come and take it. It doesn't happen that way. So it takes time. And when they say it takes time, what I realize is that building the core is the most important. That entire lead generation engine cannot happen only through word of mouth referrals. Yes, initially it happens, your first 10 customers come from that, but after that we have to set it up. So that entire, probably it's a dream, right? Everybody needs to take your software off the hand. That probably is not so, I must tell you.
Anand?
Yeah, I think to answer this, I have a perfect answer, I would say. There is a notion that you need to be of the industry to build a product of that particular industry. None of us, we are 3 co-founders who started building this product. We had been just 3 years out of our college. None of us had the experience of collections. Though we still are the largest company in India doing collections, managing and providing platform to all these largest private banks, and there are a couple of public banks as well today are customers. So it's not required for you to know the industry itself when you're starting up. If there is a problem and you understand the problem which has a potential and a large problem statement which you have figured out, you could learn the nuances of the industry or how things function in that on your way to kind of create a product or create the solution for that market. So that is something which we have learned, and we just took the leap of faith when we started up. We started up with a very different problem, went on to kind of build this. Today, we are happy that many of the people went on to say to us, you don't know collections and cheezein aisi hi hoti hai. I mean, these were the statements made to us and how to do collections and all. I think those were feedbacks to us. We always took in, okay, thank you for giving us the feedback. Next feature we'll build is according to what you are currently saying. And that's how we build the roadmap through the feedbacks of the people. And maybe we did not have the roadmap right on day one in our minds.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Nice. Vivek?
A lot of times, I think you sort of pointed out very beautifully in the conversation that India is an extremely difficult market to sell software to. Right? We've all faced it at some point in time in life. At the same time, US is a great market to sell software to. Not that it's difficult, it's easy, it's very, very difficult, right? A lot of founders end up make it a 0-1 situation, either India or US, right? We realize that there are so many niche markets that you could enter into, and these markets are massively underserved when it comes to software selling, right? Nobody ever, and I completely agree with Anand here, nobody ever has walked into a Vietnamese bank selling them a software in life, right? Or at least from India, right? Or it's a very, very difficult thing to do, right? We've experienced this hands-on, that when we walk into customers in Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, selling them marketing automation platforms, right? These are folks who have never had a sales folks walk into their door to sell them a software, right? You could do 2 years in and out of the market, and with limited support, you could actually do a clean sweep of the market, capture a good 30%, 40% of the market, right? Again, these are not massive markets like $1 billion market, right? These are probably $2 million, $3 million, $5 million market, right? Having said that, it's a pretty handsome ROI on your effort to go and capture $1 million from one country and just be happy about it, right? You get feedback, you build your product patiently, and you get real revenue out of these customers, right?
Got it.
So it's okay to sort of walk into small market as long as you're doing it consciously. Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you, folks. So you've seen somebody who's a domain expert saying, domain expertise matters and selling software built with that domain expertise. Then you have a founder who says, domain expertise doesn't matter. You can build whatever you want and sell that. You have folks in, HR tech who solve their own problems. When they were a manager, they were trying to build something that was a problem for themselves. And you have somebody in MarTech who's like sending a lot of annoying notifications to all of us, right? So this is representative of all the SaaS founders that we have across India. And hopefully we'll see many more of you on stage in the future sharing your stories here as well. Thank you so much. Give them a round.
Would like to thank Vivek, Anand, Vidya, and Shubhra for that engaging conversation.